Chapter 3 of Murder Makes Me Mad by Ferguson Findley. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 3.
"If you're gonna stay here all day, mister,"
the counterman said,
"I'll make a fresh batch of coffee."
"I got an appointment at 2 o'clock, I said. "Right across the street with Mr. Wirtz, and I don't want him to get away this time."
"Why?"
the man said.
"He was sitting right here when you walked in, and I told you who he was. You could have followed him right back to his office instead of staying here drinking coffee for the last 3 hours. Say," he whispered, "could I ask you a personal kind of question?"
"The answer is, son, that I only go in the morning when I get up and in the evening before I go to bed. Many years ago, when I sailed around the world with the Great White Fleet and the Armored Cruiser Squadron, we made a liberty in Calcutta. That's in India. There I learned the secret of preparing a potion from an old Indian fakir who hadn't gone for more than 3 years, and I still use it. I can drink 17 pints of coffee a day, lad, and it never bothers me at all."
"Don't you sweat heavy?"
"No more than anybody else. Lend me your phone a minute." He handed it to me, and I dialed Wirtz and Company. "Hello, Debbie. This is Rex Howard. I'm just about to leave my place to come up, but I wanted to make sure Mr. Wirtz is there." "He is? Thanks, sweetheart. I'll be there in about 20 minutes. I gave the boy $1 and left. When I got to the first deck of the building, I sat down on the steps and lit a cigarette. It was dark there, so Mr. Wirtz didn't see me when he started down from his office. He almost stepped on me before I stood up. "Hello, Caesar," I said. "I'm Rex Howard. I was just on my way up to your office."
You're early,"
he said accusingly, as though I had done something wrong. Then he squinted at me through his heavy glasses.
"You came in the restaurant this morning. You're spying on me."
He tried to push his way past me on the landing.
"I don't want any of your business, Mr. Howard. Go away and don't bother me. I don't want your business."
"Come across the street anyhow, and I'll buy you some lunch. I know you haven't had any because I've been watching you."
"I never eat lunch, Mr. Howard. Never. Now go away. I know what you want, and I won't talk about it. I won't talk about it at all."
My hand crept around his wrist and locked. "How do you know what I want, Caesar?" I demanded. "Tell me just that one little thing, and I'll let you go. But if you don't tell me, I may get suspicious and never let you go."
"I know who you are," he said. "You're the brother of that Gillian girl that got poisoned. The police have already talked to me about that, and they know I didn't have anything to do with it. Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing."
"Then why are you trying so hard to avoid me, Caesar? Let's go back up to your office and sit down and talk this over. I don't believe you poisoned my sister. If I did, I'd break your arm right here to begin with, instead of just holding your wrist. But I want to know where and how you got that case of whiskey. Let's go back up and talk about it."
I will not," he sputtered. "Take your hands off me."
"Salty little feller, aren't you?" I said, picking him up in my arms like a child and carrying him up the steps and into his office. "Hi, Debbie," I said to the brunette. "It's just about 2 o'clock. As you can plainly see, Mr. Wirtz is in, right here in my ever-loving arms."
"Put me down, Howard," Wirtz shrilled. "Miss Ames, call the police and tell them to come over here right away."
She reached for the phone, but the twinkle in her eyes told me she was getting a big kick out of the whole affair. It was the first sign of ordinary human sympathy that I had noticed around the joint. "Don't bother," I said. I dumped Wirtz into the leather chair. "Think it over, Caesar. I don't believe for a minute you put the poison in the bottle, or that you even knew there was poison in the bottle. But I do think you know more than you've told the cops. I got good reasons for thinking that. Here's my card. When you get ready to talk to me, call me up. I'll be at home after 6 tonight. Call me before 12. Goodbye, Debbie. I'll be seeing you." The only thing to do was to wait and see if my bluff would work. If he called, I would know that he did know more than he had told the police. If he didn't call, or if his lawyer called and threatened to slap an assault suit on me, all I could do was come about and head up on a new course. But at least I wasn't just sitting on my duff. The phone rang at 11 minutes after 6, and it was Debbie. "Calling for Mr. Wirtz, I presume?"
"He's left to go to the Importers Club, Mr. Howard. He didn't want to see you, but I told him I thought he should. So just before he went out, he told me to call you."
"And what are you supposed to tell me?"
"If you'd like to join Mr. Wirtz for a drink, he will be at the Importers Club until 7:30.
"He ought to be safe from my wrath there, surrounded by those other rugged importers. Tell Mr. Wirtz, and I bet you he is right there beside you, that I will be at the Importers Club at 7:15. I'll just have time to change my shirt." She laughed.
You lose your bet, Mr. Howard. I'm right here in my own apartment, just about ready to step into the shower. Mr. Wirt certainly isn't here beside me.
I heard her giggle.
I bet he wouldn't know what to do if he was.
She hung up. The Importers Club is a swell place on a small scale, a little shabbier than it was 20 years ago. It's over in the West 30s. My taxi came up against a one-way street, and rather than run around the block, I paid him off on the corner and started to walk toward the club. A red Ford convertible pulled away from the curb at the other end of the street and came alongside before I got to the club. The horn gave a kind of provocative toot at me, and I looked up. Debbie Ames was driving.
"Come on, Rex,"
she said in that voice that nearly killed me.
"Let's get out of this fire trap."
I walked over and leaned against the door. "I have to go in here and see Caesar," I said. "Why don't you be a good girl and go home and wait for me? Where do you live?"
"You'll find out in time," she said. "What makes you think Caesar's in that old club?"
"You said he was."
"He changed his mind. He told me to meet you and see what you had on your mind."
"Look, Debbie," I said, "I'm a big boy now. You're a big girl. As far as you're concerned, there's just one thing on my mind. As far as Mr. Caesar Wirtz is concerned, I've got the murder of my sister on my mind. I can't think of a single solitary thing you can do, short of killing me, that will take murder off my mind. So where do we go from here?" She slid over to the right-hand part of the seat.
"You drive. Talk later."
"Oh, for the love of Mike," I said, getting in and slipping the transmission into gear. "Who do you think you are, somebody out of a spy story with that ever-loving voice and that low-cut outfit you're wearing?"
"Why don't we go get a couple of drinks and something to eat?" she said. "And why don't you stop being so goddamn sarcastic and wise? You were asking for a date this morning, and now you've got it. If you've changed your mind, get the hell out and I'll drive."
"Okay," I said. "That's more like it. Let's run out on the island and scout up a joint where we can drink, dine, and maybe dance."
"Don't tell me you dance," she said. "I'll bet you know how to make music with a comb and how to make dirty shadow pictures with your hands."
"All right," I said. "You win. I'll behave. I'll be nice and we'll have a good time and won't even think about Mr. Wirtz."
"Not for a while, anyhow," she said.
Then she slid across the seat as close to me as she could get.
"You like this perfume, Rex? It's called sea spray."
I liked it. We sort of got calmed down and squared away after a while and didn't talk about much of anything while we drove out to Long Island. We went to a place run by a retired warrant paymaster I knew when he was a storekeeper second on the Oklahoma. They have good food and good drinks and a pretty fair dance band there. The place is right down on the beach, and we got a table where we could see the ocean rolling in and hear the waves swish against the sand. We just kind of made conversation for a while, and then I casually asked her why she worked for an old geezer like Wirtz.
"He's a pretty nice guy, Rex. Really, he is. It's no strain working for him, except during this last week or so he's been as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. But that's because of what happened to your sister. He believes the police think he had something to do with it."
"Did he?"
"Honestly, Rex, I don't see how he could. All he does is receive the orders from the ships, have them trucked to his warehouse, and then deliver the whiskey and stuff to the customers. If anybody poisoned the whiskey, it could have been done in Ireland, aboard the ship, at the pier, on the way to the warehouse, in the warehouse, or on the way to the customer. Mr. Wirtz would be the last man to be able to do it. He never even sees the stuff."
"I believe you, Debbie. Let's dance." Dancing with Debbie was something you had to do to believe it could be true. She was the perfect partner for me. She felt like she was part of me, from where her long thighs met mine up to where her cheek pressed against the corner of my mouth. There in that dim light with the soft music and the old Atlantic Ocean rolling up against the beach, we seemed to dance completely alone, uninhibited and unclothed. The music stopped and I could feel the little drops of moisture on my upper lip. "Let's go home, Debbie," I said.
"Easy, boy," she smiled. "Even Rome wasn't made in a day. Sit down and relax. I'd like another drink, gin and tonic."
The waiter brought the drinks. "I hear Wirtz is practically broke," I said then.
"Where'd you hear that?"
she wondered. "Guy in the restaurant across the street from your office."
"Don't look at me like that, Rex Howard. I don't keep the books. I just do the typing and take care of visitors like you."
"When are you going to start taking care of me, Debbie? Let's go home to your place and start right now, because I sure do need a lot of taking care of, honey."
"I said to relax, sailor."
She stuck out her little red tongue at me.
And it won't do you much good to ask me about Mr. Wirtz's business either, because I've only been working for him for about 2 months.
What'd you do before that? I asked, offering her a cigarette. She took it and waited for my match before she answered.
I went to opening nights and nightclubs all the time, and saw a lot of people I didn't like, and had too many cocktails at lunch with people who bored me, and fought my husband most of the time.
I didn't know you had a husband.
Would you have cared if you had?
Her smile took the sting out of the remark.
He died just about 3 months ago, Rex. He drank himself to death. He had a lot of life insurance. I'm a fairly rich widow. Does that make any difference?
Debbie, I loved you for yourself alone, before I knew you had money. I said this lightly because I didn't want to get too serious with a dame who had picked me up from the street just about 4 hours before, and who hadn't tipped her hand yet. I said to myself the minute I saw you, that's the only girl in the world for you, Rex Howard. She can lie, steal, cheat, and even spy on you, and it won't even make a difference. That's exactly what I said, and you can ask anybody from here to Guantanamo Bay. They'll all say I said it.
I'm not spying on you, Rex. I bet Mr. Wirtz is still waiting for you in the Importers Club.
How's that again? She lowered her eyes.
After I called you with his message, I slid into my bathtub and was rubbing myself with soap under all those bubbles and stuff I dumped in the water, and all of a sudden I decided I was lonely and it was a shame to waste a guy like you on Caesar Wirtz. So I just got out and got dressed and kidnapped you.
She finished the gin and tonic.
Do you mind?
I didn't exactly know what the pitch was, but I didn't mind. You want another drink? I said.
Not here, she said. Let's go home.
We drove back into Manhattan along the Parkway and had the road practically to ourselves. There was one car behind us, but he was a gentleman. He kept his lights down and stayed so far back that he didn't bother us. It was a wonderful ride with Debbie snugly beside me, my arm around her and my hand resting lightly on her breast. We drove to the address she had given me in the East 70s.
I guess we have to put the car away, she said. I'm sorry, we should have driven to the parking lot first. I didn't think about it. It's just over on First Avenue, 1 block down.
Why don't I drive over and walk back? I suggested. You go on up and break out the ice, and by the time you're ready, I'll be there.
Okay, she agreed. It's 1 block down on First on the right-hand side. You can't miss it.
She leaned over and kissed me lightly on my upper lip.
Hurry back, Rex. I'll be ready.
I gave the convertible 4 bells and a jingle and wasted no time getting to the parking lot. The sleepy old man there seemed to know the car and said he'd take care of it. I was hurrying back to Debbie's place when a big guy suddenly stepped out of a doorway and asked me did I have a match. He had a cigarette in his hand. Sure, I said, backing down and coming to a stop. I put my hand in my pocket to get out some matches and he walloped me one on the jaw that knocked me staggering. I haven't been hit that hard since Killer Cole caught me while I was looking at a girl in the audience during the light heavyweight semifinals at Cavite in 1937. I was saved by the bell then, but there wasn't any bell this time. The guy hit me again while my hand was still in my pocket and I folded. I sort of remember another man coming out of the shadows, and when I woke up I was in a cellar. It smelled damp and moldy.
Throw some more water on him, Piggy,
the voice that had asked for a match said.
He's coming round.
A bucket of water slapped me in the face, and about half of it seemed to go up my nose. I started gagging and coughing and tried to get my hands up to my face, but they were tied. Finally, I caught my breath. What the hell goes on? I asked. What the hell did I ever do to you guys? God damn it, let me go, will you?
Not so fast, Buster,
the voice said. The place was almost completely dark, the only light coming from somewhere around a corner. I could make out 2 men, but I couldn't see their faces.
You got time for a little talk, don't you?
Untie my hands, you bastards, and I'll talk.
You think we should leave him call us bastards, Piggy?
The voice asked with a kind of sinister gentleness.
I think we should remember it, Smiley,
a gravelly voice answered.
After we talk, huh? We was wondering what you was doing today,
Smiley, who was the guy who hit me, said, and I guess he was saying it to me.
Why don't you tell us?
Do you have to knock me down and drag me in here to ask me that, you dumb bastards? I got up at about 700, went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth.
You heard him call us bastards again, didn't you? I sure did, Smiley. Dumb bastards was what he said. Go on, mister, keep talking.
Then I went out to the galley and made a pottage of mocha and fried some eggs.
He says galley and jamoke instead of kitchen and coffee, Smiley, Piggy said. He must be some kind of goddamn sailor. Remember that, Smiley said. We don't like sailors one little bit, do we? I hate sailors, Piggy said, rattling the rocks in his voice. Keep talking, Smiley ordered. Knock off this crap about making breakfast. We ain't got all night to listen to you. Tell us, for instance, why you're up at Wirtz's saying you're going to go into the saloon business, which we know is a lie.
What the hell is it to you? I asked. Am I bothering you, you yellow son of a bitch? Let me get my hands on you, and I'll show you what the hell business I'm in. I got a kick in the ribs, and then another and another.
Kick him again, Piggy. Kick him. Kick him. Like this.
A vicious kick beside my right kidney made me arch my back in pain. Smiley was panting with sadistic excitement.
Don't knock him out, Piggy. I want to hurt him some more.
He bent over me.
Big mouth, ain't you? Big mouth snooper, that's you. Well, we don't like big mouth snoopers in this town, that's for sure. You understand?
Go to hell, I said. I never did have good sense.
So we're just going to teach you to mind your own business. You ain't no big shot. You ain't even a little shot. You're just a nosy snooper with a big mouth, ain't you?
Go to hell, I said. He rolled me over with his feet so that I lay with my face in a puddle of the water they had thrown on me. My hands were tied behind my back.
Hand me that piece of wire, Piggy,
I heard Smiley say.
What's the score?
1 just plain bastards.
That's 5.
1 dumb bastards.
That's 10, easy.
He called you a yellow son of a bitch, Smiley.
I don't like that. 25 would be about right, I think.
Why don't you make it 30?
Piggy asked.
Then he told us to go to hell twice.
That's 5 each or 10 more.
That makes 55. And 5 more for talking like a sailor makes 60. Don't you think you better gag him so nobody hears his screams on the street?
You got something to stuff in his mouth, Piggy?
I got a wad of old rags, Smiley.
I was rolled back and my face slapped.
Open your mouth!
Foul rags were jammed into it. Another rag was passed across my face and tied, and then I was rolled back on my face.
This hurts us more than it hurts you.
Smiley started laughing, and I could hear Piggy chuckling too.
But it's for your own good.
I heard a swishing sound coming down from the ceiling, and a streak of red-hot pain slashed across my shoulders. I tried to shout, but no noise came out.
1, Smiley said. Only 59 more to go.
Again, the terrible searing pain as the stiff piece of wire cut across my back, and I writhed and tried to roll away. Somebody sat on my legs to hold me down.
2, 3, 4.
I wished I could die and knew I wouldn't. I prayed and I cursed and I banged my head on the cellar floor and lost all count of the lashes. I lost all sense of everything except the terrible pain repeated over and over again on my back. There was never anything like that, and there was nothing I could do about it. The cords that held my wrists together cut into the skin as I strained to get loose, but I couldn't free myself. After a while I couldn't hear the counting, but I could hear Smiley and Piggy laughing and giggling as Smiley slowly cut me to pieces. And then, I guess I passed out. The light was still coming from around the corner when I opened my eyes again. I raised my head and would have cried out in pain except for the gag in my mouth. When I tried to move my shoulders, the terrible ache in my back was worse. Slowly, memory of what had happened returned. I tried my legs for size, and they seemed to be untied, so I got unsteadily to my feet. When I tried to walk, my head wouldn't work right, but seemed to be swimming off in a world of its own. You better take a couple of round turns and a half hitch on something, Rex, I said to myself, and snub yourself against the pier before you drift free. I stumbled toward the source of light, which turned out to be a dirty and battered old street lantern, and by its feeble beams I found a flight of steps leading upward. But I couldn't make it. My legs just wouldn't lift me. My hands were still tied behind me, but I managed to reach the jackknife in my hip pocket and cut the lashings my entertaining friends had put around my wrists. You should have seen those wrists, swollen and cut and angry purple in color. As the blood began to flow back into my hands at its regular rate, the pain in my arms became almost too much to bear. But when it was gone for good. I yanked the bandage off my face and spat out the gag. All this while I was still down. Then I turned and slowly made it up the steps on my hands and knees. I was in an old house that seemed deserted. The lantern was downstairs, and I wasn't going to go down and get it just to see the details of the place where I found myself. Somewhere there must be a door. Someone had brought me in, and there must be a way out. Eventually I found it and painfully made my way through a battered entry hall. I pushed a door open and bright sunlight slammed me in the eyes. When I remembered to look at my watch, I saw it was 10 o'clock in the morning, but the morning of what day I couldn't guess. I was an unholy mess. My jacket was gone. The front of my shirt was covered with mud and filth from the cellar floor. I put my hand against my back and it came back with flecks of caked black blood on it. There was still money in my pockets, but I was afraid to step out and hail a taxi. The driver would have taken one look and called the cops. Cops. Now my head began to clear up. I learned to breathe again, in spite of the pain of my kicked ribs and my torn back. I felt my way down to the cellar and got the lantern and found my jacket in the corner. Smiley and Piggy had splashed water on me, so there must be a faucet somewhere. I found it over by an old laundry tub, and I washed my hands and face as well as I could, then struggled into the jacket. Struggled is a mild word. Getting into that jacket was sheer and exquisite torture. It felt as though a million red-hot needles were jabbing into my back with every move I made. But I got to the door and stepped out onto the street. The house was deserted and a sign said for sale. 2 front windows were broken. For a moment I had the idea of going to Debbie's apartment, but something told me that I wouldn't be welcome, even if she happened to be home. There wasn't anything romantic about me, that was a certain bet. So I went down the street the other way and started looking for either a cop or a call box. I found the call box first. A gruff voice answered.
"What do you want, Amotsky? You're early."
"This is Rex Howard," I said, and I gave him the box number. "I got beat up last night, and I need help, please."
"Who?" the voice said. "Where's Amotsky?"
"I don't know Amotsky," I said. "Listen, please. I need help. I need a doctor."
"Why didn't you say you need a doctor? There's one in the middle of the block, Dr. Fishbush. Go see him. What's the matter, you drunk?"
"I can't make it to the middle of the block. I'm just hanging on here, and I'm going to fall over in a minute." I wasn't just saying that either. The city was beginning to go around in circles. "Please, send somebody to help me." I felt myself slip into the sidewalk. "Bear a hand, you sailors," I muttered, and passed out again. Next thing I knew, there was a guy in a white jacket and a good-looking dame in white, too, and they were looking at me, and we were all in a white room with white sheets and white beds that I could see out of the corner of my eye. The place smelled like sick bay, which is what we call the medical section aboard ship. The guy in the white jacket looked like a sawbone, so I smiled at him and said, "Hi, Doc."
"Good morning, Mr. Howard," he smiled back. "Do you think you're going to live?"
I shut my eyes again and tried to think. "Where am I?" I asked, opening just one eye this time.
"Bellevue Hospital," he said cheerfully.
"How long have I been here?"
"This is your 3rd day."
He certainly was jolly about it. "Is that good?" I asked.
"Gave you a chance to heal, after we got the blood and dirt scrubbed off you, and threw your shirt and undershirt away. Do you feel like talking?"
"I feel like eating," I said. "I feel like a double bourbon on the rocks and a double sirloin on the rare side. What kind of mess do you run here?"
"I beg your pardon?"
the nurse said. "Pardon me, ma'am. Sometimes I forget and talk sailor talk. A mess is the dining room where I come from."
"We'll give you something to eat," the doctor said. "Meanwhile, there's a detective who has been waiting around here for 2 days to talk to you."
"Hello, Rex," a familiar voice said. It was Eddie Zimmer. "What the hell'd you tangle with, Rocky Bottom? You look like you've been run around off the coast of Maine." "What happened to me, Eddie? Did you get those guys?" "What guys, Chief? What guys are you talking about?" "Those guys who gave me the business, Smiley and Piggy. Didn't I tell you?" And then I realized that he didn't know what I was talking about. Somehow or other, I had thought that everybody in New York must know by this time. "Just take your time, Chief," Eddie said gently. "We got all the time in the world." End of chapter 3.